Welcome to the Informed Training Program on ISO 9001, 2015. This video will give you a basic understanding of the ISO 9001 standard and how it will impact you. It consists of 5 sections. First, the introduction. Where did ISO 9001 come from? Who can use ISO 9001? We will talk about the title, and we will discuss what does quality mean. The second section is why use ISO 9001? We will discuss the benefits for customers, the benefits for companies, and the benefits for employees. The third section is what is ISO 9001? What does it say? What does ISO 9001 require? Fourth, we will go over some basic aspects of an ISO 9001 system, some ISO 9001 basics, and certification. What is it? Last, we will discuss what is next and how can you contribute. Section 1. Introduction. This section takes a look at the origins of ISO 9001 and its applicability. The intent of the ISO 9001 standard is to help companies ensure they produce goods of consistent quality and to establish processes for continual improvement. This is done through the use of a widely recognized and accepted set of requirements for achieving quality goals. Though often invisible, we benefit from standards in almost every aspect of our life. Imagine the difficulties if goods in shipping containers from China or India arrived at our docks where cranes were designed to hoist different size containers. Or if consumer goods needing batteries required their own specific battery size instead of one of the standard sizes commonly available. Safe toys for our children, interchangeable parts for motor vehicles, common shipping containers. All these and so many more goods and services rely upon standards for international uniformity. The same is true with the use of a quality standard, ISO 9001. So, where did ISO 9001 come from? The idea for a quality standard began in the 50s as a U.S. military specification. It went on to become an ISO standard in the late 1980s with the introduction of ISO 9001. It is now internationally respected as the best-known model for a quality management system, with more than 1.1 million certificates across the globe, over 170 countries. It is also the foundation for more specific standards, such as the environmental standard ISO 14001 or the automotive standard ISO TS 16949. So when your management decides to do ISO 9001, you join an exclusive international club. So who can use ISO 9001? Who? Just about anyone. You see, while most standards are very specific, ISO 9001 is generic. That means it isn't specific to any field or industry. It applies equally to companies that sell goods and companies that provide services. No matter what the size or field, whether a commercial business or nonprofit, ISO 9001 can be used. Let's talk about the title. The full title is ISO 9001 2015, Quality Management System Requirements. Usually it's shortened to just ISO 9001. ISO stands for International Organization of Standardization, the body that oversees the publishing and updating of international standards, with input from over 150 member countries around the world. The number 9001 is just a unique identifying number and never changes. The other number does. 2015 is the year of publication. What does quality mean?
Quality is a word that people use a lot and don't always know what it means. In my experience, you have to get your own definition of quality. When I use the word quality, I mean giving the customer what we agreed to give them so that it meets all of the requirements.
What people mean by quality can vary. In this video, we use it in the sense of giving your customers what they require, meaning your goods or services meet the expectations of your customers consistently. It's a very good idea for each company to agree on what quality means to them. A quality management system is the internal system that a company uses to manage what it does. It's the processes, policies, procedures, people, and practices used to do things consistently that give your customers that same level of quality.
When a company delivers good quality products, customers are happy. And when customers are happy, the company is happy as well. That's what they're in business to do. It's a measure of success when customers are happy with a company's consistent quality.
Section 2. Why use ISO 9001? Here, we consider some reasons for choosing ISO 9001 and its benefits.
A quality management system is a series of processes that ensure a company delivers products and services to their customers that are of a consistent quality, a level of quality that meets customer needs.
First, benefits for customers. First and last, ISO 9001 is all about customers. Customers of an ISO 9001 company should be assured of consistent quality. ISO 9001 really does take the viewpoint of your customers to make sure they can have confidence in your goods or services, and confidence that you really are doing what you claim you do. Second, benefits for companies. There are many benefits for companies that do ISO 9001. The system you develop helps you improve your processes, be more consistent, and achieve reliable quality in your goods or services. So there's less rework or waste, greater efficiency, lower cost, improved productivity, and enhanced customer service.
If someone was thinking of implementing 9001 and were maybe a bit hesitant as to how they would approach it or what effect on their business, I would certainly say to go for it. It's been an extremely positive experience for our business. We are far more ordered, we're far more accountable, and our productivity has certainly improved dramatically.
Companies consistently report that they run better, achieve better customer feedback, and have fewer problems with an ISO 9001 system. These benefits add up, creating more success so companies can grow without loss of quality.
ISO 9001 changes a company's approach to quality in that they're being far more disciplined about written procedures and operational processes. They are also more aggressive in the training that everybody has to receive. Employees must be familiar with the purpose and the use of those processes, and they must contribute to the maintenance and improvement of them as well. While successful companies have a lot of sound philosophies and policies in place before implementing ISO 9001, after implementation, they are much more rigorous in their application.
Third, benefits for employees. ISO 9001 is also good for people. Employees report greater job satisfaction and give positive feedback. Workplaces are clearer. People don't have to battle the same old problems. Those problems no longer show up. ISO 9001 promotes involvement of employees at all levels of an organization because it makes sense. The people closest to the work often have great ideas on how to improve their processes.
The effect of the implementation of 9001 on our staff has been really good. They've actually found it better to have processes in place. Our administration staff do appreciate the fact that we go through a certain regimented process. It's easy to understand, it's easy to implement, and it gives really good outcomes.
As a company gets more successful, this usually opens up greater opportunities for employees. And working for an ISO 9001 company gives you knowledge and skills to enhance your resume. Section 3. What is ISO 9001? This section explains what ISO 9001 is and what it says. So what does it say? ISO 9001 says what a company must do or have. In other words, its requirements, but not how to do it. ISO 9001 is mainly just a list of requirements. Requirements are things that a company must do or have and can demonstrate. If a law says a particular service can only be provided by a person with a certain medical degree, that's a legal requirement. If a customer wants their reports from you printed on yellow paper, that's a customer requirement. And if a customer writes into their purchase order or contract that the widgets you make for them must be delivered on a specific date, that's a contract requirement. ISO 9001 says you must meet all the relevant legal, customer, and contract requirements. But it also sets out its own requirements. For example, you must know what your customer wants and give it to them. You must ensure employees are competent for their work. Those are requirements for your quality system. But what makes those employees competent will vary across different companies. Architects design buildings. Engineers give specialized advice on noise, roads, traffic, and materials. Construction companies build them. Others manufacture materials or fittings such as electrical components, fans, air conditioners, or fire extinguishers. You could be a cleaning company that cleans the offices, or a company offering healthcare services to the employees. All of these companies are very different. But for an ISO 9001 quality management system, all of these companies must meet the same requirements, although in many different ways. Let's take a quick look at what ISO 9001 requires. The standard has 10 sections in total. The first 3 are mostly administrative: scope, reference and terms, and definitions. The remaining 7 sections contain the actual requirements. Requirements in Section 4, 5, and 6 are now common to all ISO management system standards. Here's a brief explanation of the 7 requirement sections. Section 4. Context of the organization. First, your management must consider the context of the company. This includes what your customers need, the operating environment, any relevant legislation, and the processes that the company needs to have and to maintain. Section 5. Leadership. ISO 9001 is a standard for a management system, so it puts much emphasis on the role of managers. The leadership section requires senior management to set a quality policy, define roles and responsibilities, and do suitable planning. Section 6. Planning. There's a lot of emphasis on planning, what you want to achieve, and planning the processes needed. The standard requires management to set objectives and targets, which are then used to assess performance. Examples of objectives might be to achieve 100% customer satisfaction, or dispatch all orders the same day received, or reduce rework to 5%. Each company must choose objectives which are useful to them. Section 7. Support. To operate effectively, companies need the right resources. This section requires companies to make sure employees are competent for their work and to provide the equipment, tools, or work environment needed. Of course, not every requirement is equally important in every system. Do you need a clean room, a chemical testing laboratory, or a biomanufacturer might, but a consultant won't? Service businesses usually don't need any tools or machinery, whereas manufacturers will. Support also includes requirements to manage information, including suitable written information. ISO 9001 does not prescribe any specific written procedures, but requires each company to decide for itself what is needed. This includes documenting whatever information is needed to operate effectively and to demonstrate that all requirements are met. Section 8, Operation. This is the largest section of the standard, setting out what is required for producing goods and services that reliably meet customer expectations. From understanding the specifications and requirements, through whatever design, production, development, or delivery is involved, the processes you use to operate must be organized and suitably controlled. Ultimately, the intent is to make sure your services and goods meet all requirements, not just now and again, but consistently.
I think the primary benefits of ISO 9001 to a company are to focus everyone on a common objective. Whereas some total quality programs can be quite widespread, where everyone is trying to address all different aspects of a company's quality system, ISO 9001 is a fairly prescribed system. It's very clear what you have to do. You also have an external element to it, so it's much easier to get the company focused and to say what needs to be done and why.
If any other companies supply goods or services that affect the quality of yours, then you need to make sure you have suitable control over your suppliers so that customers get what they specified and you agreed to supply. Section 9. Performance evaluation. It's not much good just doing stuff all the time. Companies need to know, are we doing the right things? What's really happening in our company? What do our customers think about what we do? Are we getting the results we planned? Are things working? How well are they working?
Performance evaluation is a technique that's actually happening all the time. For hands-on operators and service delivery personnel, they're being monitored by their supervisor quite frequently to see that they're doing a good job. Stepping that up a level, the processes that operate within an organisation are evaluated and reported frequently by middle managers, departmental managers who are collecting information and reporting to report to their bosses. Their bosses collect that information and report to their boss. So performance evaluation is something that's happening all the time in every organisation. Frequently it's all about money, costs, revenue, income, profit, but these other things can be measured as well, such as efficiency, effectiveness, conversion rates. For a quality management system, an organisation has to decide for itself, in addition to all these things they routinely measure to tell them how the business is working, what other measures do they need to look at to tell them whether product and service quality is actually performing as they want it to perform, and that customer satisfaction is being achieved by whatever method they've decided they need to achieve it.
Similar to school reports for students, management needs to collect and evaluate information from the system and review what happened against the objectives. Monitoring customer perceptions is very important. Internal audits are another source of valuable feedback. Section 10, Improvement. This is the final section of requirements. The system needs to be improved and made stronger because things never remain static, and because mistakes and failures can occur in even the best managed system. You need a systematic way to respond, analyze what happened, and then improve your processes to stop problems from happening again. While some of this may sound a little complicated, an ISO 9001 system really comes down to being able to answer questions like these. Who does what? What do you do? How do you do it? How do you know it's working? If something goes wrong, what happens to fix it? And remember, you don't need to know all the details of ISO 9001 and its requirements, but you definitely need to know your quality management system and the parts that apply to you. Section 4. In this section, we look at some of the basics of an ISO 9001 system.
ISO 9001 is the business system. Sound business practices that must be consistently applied. And when we talk about quality, quality is your job. Quality is my job. Quality is all of our jobs. And we must integrate that philosophy into the way we do business, because we always want to do a quality job.
An ISO 9001 quality management system involves some changes from what you've experienced in the past. Here are some of the changes most often noticed. Objectives. You may see more clarity about objectives, what your company aims for, and the results. Collecting information and comparing actual performance against plans. Greater accountability. You may see greater clarity about who is accountable for what. Perhaps more things may need to be recorded or signed off on. This enables you to track and trace and improve weak spots in a process when needed. Processes. ISO 9001 uses a process approach. That is because repeated activities are done most effectively when they are organized and managed as a process. A printing company has processes to quote, to receive customer material, design the material, get customer approval, and then print multiple copies. A company that imports and distributes goods will need processes to order goods from its suppliers, receive and inspect incoming goods, count stock, and to pack and dispatch goods to customers. Before ISO 9001, people often worked in silos, focusing only on their department or their own tasks. Wherever an ISO 9001 system recognizes that processes connect to each other, so it's important to focus on the overall processes, including what happens upstream or downstream from your work. As for written information, it is available when needed. Written information means both how to documents such as procedures, instructions, and checklists, but it also means things formerly called records. These records show what was done. Examples include completed forms, electronic entries in IT systems, databases, purchase orders, inspection and test sheets, signed off checklists, and many more. Remember, the standard says what, but not how. How much written information you have and the format is up to your company to decide. You may have paper information or electronic, or both. It definitely should not mean huge reams of long documents or many forms. How much written stuff you have will vary greatly in different companies, but you will have a quality policy, quality objectives, some information that says how things are to be done, such as procedures, checklists, or instructions. Information that shows your company does meet requirements.
The ISO 9001 program helps to improve processes because you start by writing them down. And when you write them down, you're going to look at them and see if they really are what you want and if they're the best procedures. So in combination with writing them down, you can examine them and try to improve them.
In some fields, certain references may be important. For example, standards are important for architects and engineers. product specifications are important for manufacturers. Chemical formulae are important for manufacturers of paints, reagents, or cleaning products. Testing criteria are important for a wide range of companies. Software manuals are particularly important in IT companies, and there are many others. As for risk, you may notice more attention given to risk assessment and more importance given when planning and making decisions to minimize risk. And for problem solving, you will probably notice a more systematic approach, looking at what really caused a problem and resolving the underlying causes so that the same old problems don't come up repeatedly. As for audits, there are both internal and external audits. Internal audits examine processes to confirm that what is being done correctly. Internal audits give confidence to top management that the system is operating as planned, and they help recognize good practices. They can also identify possible risks and find weaknesses, so those risks and weaknesses can be fixed. With other parts of the system, audits help to improve a quality management system and make it stronger.
Audits are just another tool that an organisation can use to determine whether the arrangements it's decided it needs to put in place to control a process are actually working. At its basic level, an audit is all about trying to work out what have we declared we're going to do, and are we actually doing it, and are we doing it consistently? Audits can be used to determine that, and then on top of that they can start to look at, and could things be done better? And by using the right calibre of auditors with the right kind of experience and background knowledge, organisations can start to fine-tune processes by using audit feedback. And it's a classic tool that the management of the organisation can use to help them decide whether everything that's happening down within the organisation is happening consistently and appropriately.
If your company applies for certification, there will also be external audits. First, for certification, and then at regular intervals to verify you are still meeting the requirements. So, certification, what is it? A company achieves certification after an audit by independent external auditors. They verify that your system meets all the requirements of the standard. These auditors are from a certifying body or registrar. Registrars are private, not government companies, and must be accredited to do such audits. When you pass, your company is then certified. This means you get a certificate with the relevant details on it. Your company can use the certificate and the certifier's logo publicly to show that you have ISO 9001 certification. Not every company chooses to go for certification. The real benefits of ISO 9001 are having a good quality management system, and anyone can use the standard to do that without going the extra step. But certification is highly valued and often demanded by some customers or government bodies, as it has so many positive results and reduces their risk. Section 5. What next? Finally, we look at how you can contribute to the success of your ISO 9001 quality system. So, how can you contribute? You may be asked to help by working on company processes, perhaps to document them, or standardizing processes across different shifts or sites, sharing what works well and what doesn't, giving feedback and suggesting improvements, identifying problems and risks, communicating what customers think of your company, its services or goods, identifying training that is needed for people to work effectively, and being trained as an internal auditor to be part of the internal audit program. When you work toward improving your quality management system, you'll learn new and valuable skills while helping to build a strong company, one that provides opportunities, benefits, and security to you.
Employees are absolutely vital in this process. You are the person doing the work, and nobody knows better than you do how it should be done. So without your help in creating these processes and documenting them, they won't be done properly, and they certainly won't be as effective and as efficient as they could be.
In the short term, you may notice quite a few changes, but once the system is brought up to an ISO 9001 level, it becomes just the way you do things every day. It won't add additional effort. In the long term, it will reduce effort because you'll be doing things better and eliminating many problems before they even begin. This means more time to work on changes and improvements instead of just fixing things that went wrong.
Employees have commented that they can often spot problems. And as a result of ISO 9001, management will listen when they point them out. And if they see a trend developing, management will listen. And if there's something they feel needs to be improved upon, management will listen again. Employees work with the quality processes every day, and management has faith in them and in their judgment to recommend continual improvements.
So now you have a better understanding of ISO 9001 and why it's important to you and your company. What's next? Here are some things you can do to help. Know what your company's quality policy is and its objectives. Look for ways you can contribute to reach those objectives. Take part. Suggest improvements. Ask your manager how you can help. An ISO 9001 based quality management system can have enormous benefits for your customers, your company, and you. But it won't happen without commitment and participation. You play an important part. If you commit and contribute, everyone profits. Your customers, your company, and you.
You don't have to be afraid of ISO 9001 because it's not going to hurt you. It can only improve your company's success, and successful companies are profitable. And profitability ensures continuing growth and long-lasting jobs.
An ISO 9001 based quality system makes sound business sense, and each of you can make a real difference. A quality management system is only ever as good as the people who use, maintain, and improve it. Thank you for your time.